Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Nice to see you. Nice crowd here, so this is great. A lot of old friends I see up here. Dick O'Brien, when he's got me involved in the water district, said there are never any exciting water district meetings. So, and when you want to be moderator, so just show up, and we get paid a lot of money, and so don't worry about it. It's gonna be fun. So we'll see about that tonight. So it's a very interesting time. I was telling somebody when I first started with the water district finance committee. So I was working out in Fitchburg, and they said, "Would you like to join the finance committee?" I said, "Sure." I said, "What time do you meet?" 12 noon. I go, so I said, "Sure, I'll show up." So I show up at 12 noon, and said, "Okay, before we have our meeting, we're going to have some pizza." So now I was the only working stiff in that day, so I thought that was a little odd, but I got very used to it. Enjoyed the pizza as we went along. So this should be a little bit interesting. It's a little bit different, but it's different in some respects, which I'll explain to you in a short while. But before we do, I just wanted to introduce to you the people who you see at the front of the room. And in no particular order, you just raise your hand, please. We have Steve Stuntz, Chair of the Commissioners, Erica Lynn, who is one of the Commissioners, Barry Rosen, III. We have a Finance Committee Representative, John Peterson, and the District Clerk, Joe Robb, who was just introduced himself and then quickly left the room. And we have District Counsel, Spencer Holland. Spencer, there we are. And of course, the District Manager, Matt Mostoller. Somebody that's new to our organization is a new Treasurer Collector, Ashley Pinard. Ashley, how long have you been with us now, Ashley?
Just over a month.
Okay, 31 days. And we're very grateful to have Christine McCarthy, who's the former Treasurer Collector, and helping us out with this transition. And the Deputy District Manager is Corey Godfrey. So Corey's there. So that's who you see in front of you. Before we begin the meeting, just wanted to mention something to you. One of our members of the Finance Committee has decided to go on to new adventures, and that man is Ron Parenti. Ron Parenti has done yeoman's work over many years. I asked the district manager if he could just let me know a little bit about Ron's service, and as he said, he was appointed the Water Land Management Committee in 1981. Now, a lot of people are scientists around here. How many, was that 45 years ago? And through 1984 on that committee, and he was a commissioner from 1989 to 2019, which is 30 years, and served on the Finance Committee from 2021 through 2025. And I just want to say thank you, Ron, for years and decades of service, and would you give him a round of applause? A couple of further housekeeping items, which is very typical for our town meeting in Acton, is when you speak for the first time, if you would say your name and address for the record, I would appreciate that. We know a lot of you, so I kind of skip over that sometimes, but please do that. And then if you speak thereafter, you don't have to worry about it. So a little bit of kabuki theater, as I'm calling it here, is that we have the Finance Committee is represented in its sole interest by John Peterson right now. So we had one Finance Committee member who left the committee, and another is now traveling. So we have a one-member committee. So if, for example, something comes up during the middle of the committee that sometimes would typically require a caucus of either like the commissioners or the Finance Committee, in this particular case, because there was not a quorum, the Finance Committee will not be able to opine on anything that comes up during that period of time.
Point of order.
Yes.
The Finance Committee did meet earlier this week, and they did take some votes on a couple of things that might come up.
Yeah.
So they have some ability to opine.
Yes, so as I understand it, just to correct me if I'm wrong, is they will opine on the things that they decided on, but
Yes.
tonight, if something were to come up, they cannot have a meeting within the meeting. That's right? Yeah. Okay, good. So, with that, unless there's something else, we'll start. Okay, everybody good? Also, just so you know, there's during the middle, we're going to have to defer some articles, or pass over some articles. We'll explain that a little later on, but that will be a key part of the meeting as well, which we'll get to that when we get to it. So we'll start with Article 1.
Nope. Sorry, I took that from you.
Oh, yeah.
Designate and then go to John. Designate the visitor.
Okay, here's a couple of things that I forgot to do. There is a visitor area, and we have a visitor. And thank you being the visitor of note, and anybody else who's a visitor can sit over here in this area. And also, before we begin the motions, we're going to have a financial overview that's provided by Mr. Peterson.
Thank you, Bill. And thank you all for joining us this evening. I congratulate Matt on finding a venue which was exactly correctly sized for the attendees. That's always tricky with the Water District. And before I go into the presentation, like Bill, I want to recognize Ron Parenti and all the support that he has provided, because even the presentation that you're about to see will benefit from Ron's support while I was working on it. So thank you for that. No. I put it over here and then it went away.
Behind it? Behind the screen?
Behind it.
Liquor?
Yeah.
Don't go all the way.
I'm just not moving. I don't know why.
Anything?
Nothing.
This is Bill's fault.
Yep.
He closed the screen earlier. It hasn't worked right since.
Thank you very much. The annual meeting of the Acton Water District will make our let me make sure that I read off of this so that I can speak up. This version on 2 pages. Okay, now we're going. The annual meeting of the Acton Water District will make our financial commitments for FY27 and beyond. In this brief presentation, we'll provide an overview of the FY27 budget and the district revenues and expense trends. This will provide context for the detailed discussion of the warrant articles later in the meeting. I thank the commissioners, Barry Rosen, Stephen Stunt, and Erica Amir-Lynn, my fellow finance committee members, Bill Gutlein and Ron Parenti, and the senior leadership of the district, Matt Mostaller.
Can't hear you.
Matt Mostaller and his staff for our collaborative effort to prepare this presentation. Now let's look at our services and budget. We hope this background will help you understand why we are requesting your support for the warrant articles. The Water District engages in 2 primary activities: water supply and water distribution. As shown on the slide, some of tonight's articles relate to only one of those activities. For example, the well rehabilitation is primarily in the supply category, while Article 14, replacement of water mains, is in the distribution category. Article 4, the FY27 budget, which includes personnel who work on both supply and distribution, supports both activities. One reason to discuss our financial commitments in terms of supply and distribution is that it highlights the recent capital investments in supply driven by PFAS and the need for a renewed focus on our distribution system. A second reason to look at the district in this way is that no matter where we source our water, distribution will always be a local issue. We're pleased to share with you some of our major accomplishments in FY26. Work is driven by people and leadership. The trails at Brewster's Meadow and the bedrock wells in particular required many people and organizations to collaborate so that the community could benefit from this new water supply. And just to go off script for a second, it just cannot be overstated how much work Matt, the commissioners, many people in the community, many organizations put into this. So if the audience is moved, a round of applause for all of the people and roosters in the back. And here's the actual sort of the dry part of it. FY26 marks a milestone in the district's capital-intensive effort to improve both the quantity and the quality of our water supply. The bedrock wells and treated water from South Acton and Central Acton, combined with the ongoing supply from North Acton, provide a robust water supply. Going forward, all water will be purified with granular activated carbon, GAC. Remember that acronym, you'll see it again. We appreciate the support you provided at our meeting in March 2023 to enable this work. Since PFAS regulations are evolving, this work and our response to it will also be evolving. Our responsibility is to make sure that the district is adequately funded to meet its goal of providing safe and reliable water service to our users, and that the cost is equitably distributed over the user base. For FY27, we are budgeting for revenues of $8.9 million and expenses of $8.6 million, resulting in a net surplus of $0.3 million. The anticipated surplus will result in an increase in free cash. On the revenue side, you, our users, provide almost all our revenue. Some additional revenue is provided by leases, fees, and connection charges for new installations. The FY27 budget in Article 4 is based on an expectation that the volume of water used will be essentially unchanged. The budget reflects the careful consideration by district management, the commissioners, and the finance committee of both the projected revenue and expense. As shown in the pie chart, your water bill is the sum of a usage fee and a fixed usage independent fee. The usage fee is tiered. As usage increases, the charge per unit of water supplied increases. The fixed fee includes a service fee implemented in 2010 and a debt fee implemented in 2013. In order to pay for the major capital investments, like the South Acton PFAS treatment plant pictured on the slide, the district added the debt fee related to the cost of debt service. The debt service fee is calculated by taking the total debt service cost and dividing by 8,900, the number of units served. Focusing on FY27 bills, the median residential water will be the same for usage, $433, no change in rates, but the usage independent fixed charge will increase to $401 for a total annual bill of $834. The median bill for FY27 will be 12% higher than FY26. For most users, charges will be higher in the summer when water usage increases. More information on the water bill calculation can be found on the district website. During the last calendar year, the district received $2.3 million as part of PFAS litigation settlement. Article 15 of the warrant will create a PFAS fund for the management and appropriation of this money. The FY27 budget benefits from the use of PFAS settlement funds through the appropriation requested in Article 16, which reduces operating expenses and assisted the commissioners in leaving usage rates unchanged. The funds in Article 17 further assist ratepayers by removing media replacement costs from the operating budget and utilizing PFAS settlement funds instead of surplus revenue. The FY27 budget benefits from Article 18 by reimbursing ineligible project costs that were needed to establish emergency interconnects during the commissioning of the Center and South Acton PFAS systems. This prevents deferring planned maintenance in the current fiscal year. The FY27 debt fee will rise by 34% relative to the FY26, as debt service for South and Central Acton PFAS treatment plants and the bedrock wells add $774,000 to the district's debt servicing costs. While a significant increase, the district's early action to address PFAS resulted in free interim construction financing, obviously reducing our costs, resulting in a decrease in the debt fee in FY26. 0% permanent financing and $2.4 million in principal forgiveness from the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust, all of which help to mitigate even more significant increases in the debt fee. Article FY25 return free cash to healthy levels. The free cash position allows us to return to the historical practice of funding certain expenditures through appropriation of surplus revenue as detailed on the slide. In total, the district plans to fund $1.28 million using this approach. However, free cash has not yet been certified, so we will pass over Articles 7 to 14 tonight, and a special district meeting will be scheduled after certification. The blue bars on the graph show that the water volume sold in FY25 is just under 60 million cubic feet. Water volume sold is decreasing slowly, about 1% a year. The slow decrease is the result of conservation efforts exceeding growth in the customer base. Residential users typically account for about 70 to 80% of metered water volume. While water volume sold has been decreasing, the red line on the graph shows that water revenues have increased from about $5.7 million in FY20 to $8.3 million in FY26. This increase in revenue is due to increases in both water rates and debt fees required to pay for the ever-increasing expenses of operating a utility where 90% of the expenses are fixed costs and only 10% are driven by the quantity of water sold. Regardless of the amount of water customers use, the cost to comply with increasingly stringent regulations, infrastructure maintenance, and renewal, and the human capital necessary to supply water 24/7, 365 remain unchanged. The bar charts show the longer-term trends in operating expenses. These are actuals from 2015 to 25. The forecast for 2026, and the budget for 2027. At the bottom, the orange bars show that salaries and benefits have been tightly controlled. Salaries are increasing with inflation, benefits are rising more rapidly. The red bars show that operating expenses are stable year over year after correcting for the distortion in FY26, as expenses normally appropriated from free cash were moved into the operating budget. For FY27, operating expenses are reduced through the use of PFAS settlement funds. At the top, the blue bar shows a significant increase in debt service for FY27. Focusing on FY27, the largest driver of the budget increase is the debt service resulting from the bonds that issued for the South and Central treatment projects and the bedrock well construction. In terms of increased healthcare costs, retiree premiums are a major factor. As last year, with our increased investment in water supply facilities, our energy, consumables, and maintenance budgets will be under pressure. We will continue to evaluate these expenses as we gain experience with plant operations and media replacement cycles. As with all other businesses, we will be impacted by energy prices and will be impacted by changing regulatory requirements. Thank you for your attention during this review of the financial history of the Acton Water District. We welcome your active participation in the discussion of tonight's warrant articles.
Okay, thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. And now are we ready to go to the motions?
We are ready to go to the motions.
Okay, we're, there are two seats down here in front if you want to sit down here, but if you're okay. Article 1. Ms. Lynn moves to fix the salaries of the elected officials as follows. Chairman of the Commissioners, $1,200 per year. Two Commissioners, $1,000 per year. The moderator, only it says $50 per year, so that's what it should be. And clerk, $600 per year. A majority vote is required. Let's see.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. And Finance Committee, I'm sorry, Ms. Lynn, to your motion, sorry.
Yes, this is the annual article to set the salaries of the officials. These are unchanged from previous years.
Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends this article.
Is there any further discussion on the article? Anybody from the members? If not, we'll take a vote. A majority vote is required. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it, it's unanimous, and the article passes. Moving on to Article 2.
Point of order, Brett.
Yes.
Richard Cohen, Main Street. I asked about this last year. I don't know why the printed one doesn't show these numbers for the last article, for instance. And I think it really would be appropriate that when you publish your warrant, that it is what's on the screen. Or I don't know if there's any period of time beforehand that's supposed to be that, but it doesn't include the numbers of what the budget is coming up or what we just voted on. You have to look back to find other older reports to actually find out what even the rates are going to be. I voted for it, you guys are doing a great job, but I don't see why you can't do a little bit better job here and inform everybody what they're voting on before they show up in this room. Thanks.
We'll move on to Article 2. Mr. Rosen moves to accept the reports of the commissioners, the treasurer, and other officers and committees of the district. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Rosen, to your motion.
This, again, is one of the motions that's up every year. Essentially, we believe we've distributed the annual report, and it does contain the commissioners and the treasurer and the other officers of the district, and we're asking you to accept it by your vote.
Thank you. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Is there any commentary from the members? Seeing nobody standing, a majority vote is required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and it's unanimous. And the motion, the article passes. Ms.
Hi, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
I'm Ann Chang, village of South East Acton. I'm standing for a point of order. I have never voted for a budget, either for town, school, or any other budget, when free cash has not been certified. I do not think we should go forward without having free cash certified. Therefore, my motion is to adjourn this session and have a new session, which you've got to have anyhow, on a Wednesday evening starting at 7 p.m. prior to the start of the new fiscal year of June 30th.
Okay, well, we'll have to talk about that.
Just so you know, the budget does not rely on free cash.
Okay, yeah. And I have a point there, but is your question more procedurally what this is in order? But I think we still need to get through the warrants really close, you have to get through it, so.
But is she able to make a motion to adjourn the meeting? On the floor?
I think you can move on top of order if we have the budget warrant we need to get through.
Okay, well, you want to speak to it?
Yeah, sure.
District Council is going to speak to what I believe is a motion.
Yes.
Can everyone hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Okay, if that changes, feel free to let me know. So purely as a procedural matter, we have a warrant that has been duly posted, and the annual meeting needs to get through it, regardless of whether that means passing over certain articles. So I think at this point, a motion to adjourn would be kind of out of order, given that we haven't made our way through the duly posted warrant. As to the more kind of substantive question implicit in the motion about the proposed budget, the budget is not at all contingent upon any free cash. So there were a number of articles which, as alluded to, do deal with surplus revenue or free cash. And the plan for tonight is to pass over those specific articles. I believe they're 7 through 14 or something to that effect. So we did look into this. We looked into whether it's possible to appropriate free cash contingent upon subsequent DOR certification, and found that while there's no Massachusetts statute that explicitly says no, DOR has issued guidance essentially saying no, you can't appropriate free cash contingent on later certification. You have to get the DOR certification first before you make the appropriation. So we will not be acting on any of those warrant articles tonight. But again, the budget is not contingent upon, nor does it require any free cash.
Okay, thank you. Based upon that, the motion is out of order. Yes, Ms.
in Mr. Peterson's slides, he had surplus revenue, which is free cash, with a budget slide. So I think,
Want to repeat that the budget does not contain any?
Yeah, and Matt can chime in as well, but essentially, following, the prior fiscal year, there's a certain amount of surplus revenue. Before that surplus revenue can be used, it has to be certified by DOR, and there's a whole process to accomplish that. Matt can talk, if he wants, a little bit about that process and why the timing is what it is and why we don't have the certification by tonight. However, the budget that is being presented tonight is for fiscal year 27. So there are certain appropriations that the district is looking to approve. Revenue will be raised in the coming fiscal year to meet those appropriations. None of that requires the use of surplus revenue.
Okay, thank you for that. We'll move on to Article 3. Mr. Stunts moves that the district vote to authorize the treasurer, with the approval of the commissioners, to borrow in anticipation of the revenue of the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, in accordance with the provisions of General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 4, and to renew any notes as may be given, any note or notes. Did you give me like a side eye?
Just remaining engaged.
So I'll start with, and to renew any note or notes as may be given for a period of less than 1 year in accordance with the provisions of the General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 17. Is there a second?
Second?
Second, okay. Mr. Stunts, to your motion?
Yes, this is another standard motion. This allows us to borrow money if for some reason revenue did not come in. We have never used this motion as long as I've been around, and we hope never to have to use it, but it allows us to continue paying bills and pumping water if something extraordinary happens to revenue sources.
Okay. Mr. Peters, Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Are there any comments from the meeting members? Seeing nobody standing, we'll take a vote. A majority vote is required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is passed. Article 4. Ms. Lynn moves that the district raise and appropriate the sum of $8,580,431 for the fiscal year 2027 budget as printed in the annual report to defray the usual expenses of the district. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Lynn, to your motion.
Thank you. Article 4 is asking for approval of our annual budget to cover the annual expenses of the operation of the water district. This budget was thoughtfully and carefully refined through the multi-month open meeting budgeting process as documented in the Board of Water Commissioners meeting minutes. Board of Water Commissioners meetings are open to the public, and we welcome your attendance and participation throughout the year. This budget covers the costs of sustaining the regular 365-day-a-year functioning of the district. These costs include the routine operation and maintenance of our treatment plants and district equipment, utility bills, staff salaries and benefits, and all other costs associated with meeting our regulatory, legal, and customer service obligations. Experienced personnel are essential for meeting these obligations and providing the very high level of service our customers expect. In the last 2 years, the district has worked hard to hire skilled new staff to backfill retirements and departures. We are very pleased to have a fully staffed front office, and we all benefit from the experience and knowledge of our current staff. Approving this budget is essential, retaining the skilled workforce who keep the district moving forward. It tells them that their work is very appreciated. We ask for your approval of this annual budget. Thank you.
Okay. Finance Committee, do you have a recommendation?
The Finance Committee has no recommendation.
Okay. To the meeting members.
why not?
Excuse me, Ms. Chang, if you wouldn't mind,
God bless you.
a little protocol would help me anyway. Yes, excuse me. Ms. Chang, yes.
Why does the Finance Committee not have a recommendation?
Okay. Mr. Peterson?
Just for clarity, I'm going to move over here. So that
I think you should answer why the
Okay.
Finance Committee doesn't have.
The Finance Committee voted on this, and it was a 1-to-1 vote. There was one vote to recommend the article and one vote not to recommend.
Point of order, Mr. Rosen.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What's your point of, do you have a point of order?
No, I want to clarify
Well,
what,
let's let him finish,
Yeah.
and then if you want to speak, right, is that it?
That's it.
Okay. What's your,
the Finance Committee actually did not have a vote on it. They made a motion, and the motion was not seconded by the other committee member, so it never came to a vote.
okay. Probably, in any case, there was no recommendation from the Finance Committee because of the, whatever, either one of those two things.
Bill?
Yes?
Sorry, it sounds like someone on the Finance Committee had concerns about the budget. Is it possible for someone to speak to that?
Bill, can we have a name and,
My
Yes,
name's Jacob, I'm an Acton resident.
And where do you, what's your address, please?
Oh, 140 River Street,
Okay.
thank you.
sorry.
Sure.
Okay, so now I'm going to leave the Finance Committee chair, and I'm going to walk over into the John Peterson, I'm just like you chair.
Please speak up, John.
The Finance Committee it met on Monday to discuss this, and because unfortunately Bill Goodline, well, fortunately for Bill, he's in Portugal. But unfortunately for me, you know, we had to sort of say, well, what if this, what if that? And Barry was there as well, and I would invite him to correct anything if I don't capture sort of the sentiment of that discussion properly. Bill and I agreed that the usage charges should be higher and that the debt service should be lower. But the difference in Bill's view and my view is that Bill said, well, you know, if that's what comes to the floor, if Article 4 comes to the floor, nothing else, Bill said, you know, I would support the article because I'm not going to fight over this. And my position was, no, this is an important point of discussion. It should be debated, and people should make a conscious decision either to support or reject the article based on this and any other considerations that they might have.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. I think that was from you, role as a Finance Committee member, but that's okay. That's what they said, a little bit of the kabuki theater. Yes, sir.
Scott Sullivan, Patriots Road. My understanding of the budget is that what was just referenced is to get the increase in revenue, instead of doing a percentage increase, there is a fixed dollar charge, which would disproportionately harm people that have low water bills. And I'd like to have that corrected or validated by someone.
Okay. Ms. Lynn?
Responding to the audience member.
Yeah, I asked a question about the rates and...
Can I make a point of order?
Sure.
Okay, I'm just a little bit confused about whether John was presenting something.
Right, well, what the flow of the meeting right now is that the members of the meeting have asked the question, and you're the lead presenter of the article. When what I said, John answered the question basically about what the Finance Committee did. I believe he's going to make an amendment, but he hasn't made an amendment yet. So right now, we're speaking on the main motion, which is the budget motion. So there was a question about how the rates were determined, and if you want to repeat the question, that's fine. And you were the lead person on the article, so I direct it to you. Perhaps you want to direct it to somebody else, that's fine also.
I'd like to ask the audience member just to repeat the question,
Sure.
clarify.
Could you repeat your question, please?
Because I'm not sure I completely understood.
It wasn't a question, it was a statement of my understanding and asking for clarification.
And
To
what,
validate
repeat,
whether I said-
could you say what you said again?
Yeah.
What I said is that my understanding is that the way of increasing revenue is based on a fixed charge as opposed to a percentage increase. So for example, like my water bill is $200. If I get a fixed charge increase of $50 versus a percentage increase, it's disproportionately hitting me versus just getting the whole town at 5%, for example. And that is my understanding how it works. I could have misread information, and I'm asking to have someone correct me or validate what I stated.
Do you understand the question?
Yes, thank you for repeating, I really appreciate it. I'd like to ask Matt Musler to help with this question.
So water revenue, Mr. Sullivan, as you stated, is made up of both a fixed fee and a variable fee that fixed fee is both a $15 service fee and the debt fee, which would be going to $85.25 per quarter if this budget is passed. That is being, is increasing from this year. It's currently at $63.50 per quarter this year. So that is true. It is going up. The variable rate through the decisions that have been made leading up to this evening have enabled us to keep that variable rate the same as it was in the current fiscal year.
Okay, thank you. Yes. And if you could state your name and address.
Alyssa Nickel, 76 School Street. I have a question about the FY27 budget. In the presentation that we saw earlier, the net surplus revenue for FY27 is expected to be $0.3 million. The expected surplus that is as yet to be certified by the state is expected to be between $1.8 and $2.4 million, which is a full 25% or a quarter of the $8.5 million budget, which seems high to me when I think about a municipal budget, a school district budget. So I'm just wondering, why have we budgeted for FY27 expecting such a very small surplus when the one that we are expecting for FY26 to be certified is almost a quarter of the budget?
Okay. Ms. Lynn?
Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
So this year's certified free cash, as Ms. Nickel pointed out, is anticipated somewhere between $1.8 and $2.4 million. Had we had that certified, we anticipated appropriating $1.28 million this year. So that was a planned use. For those of you who were in this meeting last year, you may recall we did not have any free cash coming out of that meeting. So we are reserving whatever that additional amount is that gets certified above what we anticipate appropriating, and carrying that through to next year, so we again have a healthy reserve going into the next budgeting cycle. And then the $0.3 million that you referenced that's anticipated on the revenue for the fiscal 27 budget, we would add that to the, whatever that delta is that's left over after we appropriate the $1.3 million.
Can I ask that one?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. That clears it up a lot. I do want to know if the water district has any policy to have a certain percentage reserved.
Okay.
And whether or not you succeed in that each year. Sounds like you didn't last year.
Christine, do
You
you?
want Christine? Can you answer that?
So we don't have an official policy.
Can't
Just speak
Can't
up.
hear, she's got a quiet voice.
I'll do my best. There is no official policy on the books. Historically, we have tried to maintain what we consider like a healthy reserve. It's just the prior year, we had appropriated almost all of the free cash that we had just due to the number of projects we wanted to complete without borrowing. And then last year, there was a timing issue. So we had prepaid some of the expenses for our PFAS projects, and we did not get reimbursed from the state SRF program for that prior to the September 30th deadline. So we did get the money, but it was in November, so that didn't count. So we technically had the money back, it just didn't count towards the free cash certification for that fiscal year. Which is also why this year's free cash is so much larger than what we typically see.
Okay. Lindgren?
Terry Lindgren, 1 Woodchester Drive. I just maybe you could quickly explain to me, we had no free cash last year, now we have a bunch. Cost of everything's going up, except the variable rates are staying the same. What's the magic that makes that happen, so those rates aren't going up?
Ms. Lynn?
So the free cash is appropriate, and you can correct me, Christine, if I'm wrong, the free cash is separate from the FY '27 budget as presented, so the free cash is appropriated for specific warrant articles to cover costs that are not captured in the recurring operating costs of the district. So the revenue we bring in through rates, we worked really hard on this budget to make it so that we did not have to raise the rate this year, even in the face of increased costs. And the budget process was very painstaking this year in order to find all of the places where we could hold things steady or not have to expend something this year, which would have led to a rate increase.
I'm still a tiny bit confused. What were the things that, the major drivers that you did that allowed you to keep things without raising the rates? And that's what I'm trying to get to, because you can't do that repeatedly, that's for sure. So you did something to enable the '27 budget not to have a raise. And as happy as I am about that, I'm just curious.
Sure, yeah, Christine can speak to that.
Yeah, so we go line by line and examine, what has been expended, what is the history behind it, what do we expect inflation to look like for these particular line items. And we were able to actually maintain minimal increases in the majority of the line items, with the exception of like property insurance, health insurance, things like that. The audit accounting line went up 25%. The district is anticipating having to do a full OPEB revaluation this year, in addition to the normal financial audit. Plus, because some of the SRF money that was received was federal dollars that exceeded $1 million, that triggers a single audit. So that's an additional expense that the district will have to pay for fiscal '26. So that's what increased that line item. Other line items that went up, the retirement system.
I think what Mr. Lindgren was asking about were places that we saved, so I guess line
Yeah.
items that went down as opposed to went
Yeah,
up.
so
just
the only
for
other one that went up was
expediency.
Middlesex retirement, but then, and that's because it was smoothed over 2 fiscal years, instead of having a massive increase last year and then less of an increase this year, they did a smoothing. But we were able to remove $60,000 from the current budget, which was appropriated last year for purchase of a vehicle, so that was a $60,000 savings. And then we are also taking out media replacement of $100,000, which was also added to last year's budget, and we're hoping that will be covered by PFAS MDL funds. So that's another $100,000 that was saved. So we were able to kind of move things around a little bit to maintain a tight budget.
Thank you. Mr. Noonan, name and address?
Steve Noonan, 120 Waterside. So I understand you don't have a formal reserve or free cash policy. But as I look at what you plan to spend it on, there's a lot of capital items. Do you have a 10-year capital plan currently?
Ms. Lynn?
Yep, so I will start and then I'll have Matt fill in as necessary. We work off of a master plan, which is a capital evaluation and improvement plan, and we are actually in the process of preparing our next master plan, which is a 10-year document. Is that correct? 10-year document? Yeah.
Well, it's a 50-year document, but it's really looking at expenses over a 10-year period.
Follow up, Mr. Monterey?
Please go ahead.
Was the last one done 50 years ago?
No, so it's supposed to be updated every 5 years. The last one that we have on record is from 2018. That document is available on our website if you're interested in some of those items.
Yes.
Yes, sir?
Jake Boozman, 140 River Street. I know you mentioned you tried to keep rates kind of fixed. Can you elaborate why rates were kept fixed while everyone's fixed costs will be increasing?
Yeah, so the fixed cost is, the fixed cost is the debt fee plus the service fee. And the debt fee is designed to increase and decrease as our debt changes. In 2023, the voters approved a large spending package for PFAS improvements. That debt is now coming on to the debt fee. So we've been working through that construction project, and the bill is coming due for that. That was presented at that annual meeting as a long-term projection of this is when it's going to hit the debt fee and how many years it's going to be on the fee. So currently, we will be experiencing an increase of that, but as that fee waxes and wanes, it will actually decrease over time, and in fiscal year 2030, debt will be coming off of the debt fee from the North Acton treatment plant, and there will be a larger reduction in that. So that's how the fixed fee gets larger and smaller.
Can I ask a quick follow-up?
Sure.
How does the PFAS settlement that it sounds like we've received interact with the debt fees kind of increasing?
Yeah.
Since the debt was incurred as a result of the PFAS treatment.
That's a great question. So this year, we convened a working group over the summer into the early fall that had a commissioner and a member of the finance committee as well as staff, and we had a discussion about how we wanted to apportion that money. And the district has received settlement funds in the past previously related to WR Grace and other items, and by and large, what we've chosen to do in the past is invest those and then use it over time. We're taking a similar approach here. We felt it was most prudent to invest the majority of it and be able to use it over time, with some small amount being used now, which is what the articles at the end of the warrant address. But we do not see an end to PFAS costs. So the plant construction is only the beginning of this process. We now have to continue to treat, service the plants, change the treatment media, and I think, as many people know, the regulatory landscape right now is very uncertain, and it's not at all clear in which direction the state or the federal government is going to go. Stricter, less strict, we assume stricter, given past trends, and since we don't know what that's going to look like or cost us, we felt that the best path was to keep the majority of those invested for future use.
Okay. Mr. Peterson?
I'd like to offer an amendment to the article.
Okay.
I move to amend Article 4 to read, Ms. Amir Lynn moves that the district raise and appropriate the sum of $8,580,431 for the fiscal year 2027 budget as printed in the annual report to defray the usual expenses of the district. And this is the amendment, everything that follows. And for the fiscal year 2027, that the district will consider the non-binding recommendation of the annual meeting to the commissioners to increase water usage rates by 11% and to apportion the additional revenue from such increase equally among all service units as a reduction in the debt service fee included in the water bills.
Okay. Do you have a copy of your amendment? And I actually have a copy if you don't. So
yeah.
Make sure that the district council has one right here.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have an amendment that's been made and seconded. So I'm going to just chat with district council here for a second.
Explanation before?
Yes.
Do your part? Yeah. Okay. All right, so if you thought 50 years was taking us back, I'm going to take everyone back, or I have to do the math here, 114 years or so. As some folks may know, the Water District was created by a special act of the state legislature, which the special act was in 1912, so hopefully my math checked out there. And it essentially serves as, the kind of the constitution of the Water District. And it has a number of provisions that continue to guide what the Water District can and can't do today. And one of those is that it vests the water commissioners with the authority to establish water rates and to use the income from water usage to cover the operating expenses and things like debt service. So because of that, ultimately the decision to determine water rates rests with the commissioners. So that's why this motion is being made as a non-binding recommendation to the commissioners to essentially change the structure of water rates. Now, that's kind of part one of my preface here. Part two, and at the risk of over-explaining, because I suspect this is not news to many in the room. Whether it's a town annual meeting or a water district annual meeting, the warrant serves as the legally binding agenda of the meeting. So once the warrant is established, the annual meeting cannot act on any and all topics that might pertain to the town, or in this case, the water district. So right now we are under Article 4, the budget article of the warrant. The main motion has been made. There's now a motion to amend that. And so it now comes to the moderator, who has the desirable and highly paid job of determining whether a motion to amend is within the scope of the warrant article. And so this, kind of the general substance of this motion to amend was kind of previewed with me. And my determination ultimately is that it's within the discretion of the moderator to either decide that this is actionable and it can proceed, or it's out of order. And so the moderator really administers the warrant for a town meeting or a water district meeting. And so the question is ultimately whether this is reasonably within the kind of the scope of the warrant article and kind of the same kind of general kind of substance matter of what the warrant article provides. So with that, I get to turn things over to
I
Bill.
move we appoint new district council.
Second it.
Yeah, thanks.
Point of order, the moderator can't make a motion.
I ruled myself out of order. So yeah, I've done a lot of thinking. John has talked about this for a while. It's been brought up several times. I've talked to Spencer and Matt and others. And so I'm generally inclined to welcome amendments. And so, but in this particular case, it is a unique one that has a non-binding resolution within a main motion. I don't remember that, but maybe it's happened before. But whether it has happened or not, Spencer said it's okay. But I did also review the original bylaws, and it's from whatever it was, 1930. It's crystal clear in here that the setting of water rates is the sole discretion of the commissioners. And the subject matter of this particular article is to raise and appropriate some of 8 million so for a budget. So I've also talked to a colleague of mine, another moderator who happens to be here, about this, just to see what my feeling is on this. Also Spencer, who punted to me, thanks. But anyway, in my belief that is this: the budget the article relates to the raising and appropriating the money. The raising, if by the enabling legislation specifically says that it is up to the discretion of the commissioners, and in my view that there should be other ways if you want to change this, to do this, but not through this motion. And as such, I do not believe that the amendment is in the scope of the article, and I move it to be unacceptable. I state it to be unacceptable. Any further comments on that? Yes?
Hillary Kazanian, 140 River Street. Can you just clarify, did you look at what it would look like whether to raise by percentage versus a fixed rate? And I'm sorry, I'm not using the correct
Sure. Are you talking about me?
Oh, no, just in the budget.
Okay. We're back to the question. Okay.
And did you weigh what were the pros and cons of doing a fixed rate versus a percentage?
Ms. Lynn?
Matt, can you or the treasurer speak to this?
I don't know, Corey, if you want to speak to that?
Yeah, okay. Yep. Yeah, so I think I understand that you're asking what the financial difference would be between those two. Okay, so we did look at this, and although these numbers are not from this morning, we evaluated this leading up to the meeting. The difference between the commissioner's proposed budget as is with rates versus the amendment as it's evolved from John, there is not significant relief offered by John's amendment to justify jeopardizing our model, which has been closely scrutinized over the last few months. And the difference in the proposals is about $4.60 for low water users, $2.65 for average water users, and $1.25 for high users. Those would be the increases over the board's model.
On a monthly basis.
Yeah, on a monthly
Monthly
basis.
And sorry, just to clarify, the dollar differences, it's higher. Which one's higher, which one's lower?
Lower for the median, lower for the average.
I'm not a numbers person.
Lower for the...
John's proposal is 460 lower per month. For low users, 265 lower for the average user. And high users just need to increase the $1.25.
Okay, yeah, so the difference, those numbers, with John's proposal, where there's the proposed rate increase, low users and average users would see a slight decrease in their monthly cost of either $4.60 for low or $2.65 for average. So a small decrease, and then higher users would see a very small increase of $1.25.
And just to be clear, because all of this has been, very quickly coming together, that is not a fully vetted, rate analysis. Typically, when we do a rate analysis, it is a much more thoughtful process.
Yes.
So I would characterize those as, rough numbers.
Approximately, yeah.
Sorry, can I just clarify?
No, yeah, two was it. David, did you say your name and your address, please?
David Martin, 71 High Street. So I'm not asking about the numbers here, I'm asking philosophically. There are some people, maybe Mr. Peterson and others, who would prefer to have the water rates lean more towards usage and less towards fixed. Is there a philosophical reason? I understand you also said that it wasn't possible to arrange everything for this town meeting, but is there a philosophical reason that you would prefer to have a higher proportion of fixed fees as opposed to usage fees?
So the proportion does change over time. So it's less about the specific proportion at this point in time versus the choice that was made to institute a fixed fee altogether, which was done in the service of transparency of the bill and to establish a more consistent way of bringing in revenue for the capital project. So as I mentioned before, the proportion of fixed to variable does change based on how much the fixed fee is, and that changes over time. So I think it's not so much a philosophical question about this specific moment in time as it is that we feel that having a fixed fee broken out from the usage fee is the right way to do the water bills.
Mr. Peterson? Just one second, John. Go ahead, Dave.
So, in my looking at the numbers, the fixed fee versus the usage fee does not track with the operational costs versus the capital investment costs, right? And so, if you were philosophically, I know you didn't say this, but if the philosophy was to cover the capital investment costs with the fixed fee and the operational costs with the usage fee, I don't see that as being done here, right? And so it looks to me as if it's kind of arbitrary where you set the fixed versus usage. Is that not true?
Do you want to speak?
So, yeah, David, the fixed fee isn't arbitrary. It is taking our known debt payments that are going to be due in fiscal '27, which is just over $3 million, and is dividing that by the number of units served. So it's not arbitrary. It is a direct calculation based on what our debt payments will be in the coming fiscal year. So that is not arbitrary.
Right, okay, I didn't understand that, thank you for that.
Okay. Yeah.
John?
Yeah, so let me first follow up on that. So I think David is onto something that is important. There is a rule
Are you speaking?
I'm speaking as me.
He's speaking to...
Because
As what?
I'm out here.
As John Peters.
John Peters.
Oh, okay.
It's off the
citizen.
floor.
If I want to, when we get back to the other
I'll
stuff, I'll
make
sit
sure to
down.
acknowledge that, Barry,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it.
So I think David's on this something important. The commissioners have been following a rule, the district has had a rule that says, we will take the debt service, whatever the debt service is, we'll divide it by the number of service units, and that we will charge as a fixed fee. That correlates with one and only one thing, the debt. It doesn't necessarily correlate with anything else. It's not a policy that says 30% of our revenue should be fixed or anything else. And as noted in the discussion, that will and has gone up and down as a function of what's coming on or coming off the debt. Now, I'm going to ask you to vote no on Article 4. And the reason I'm asking you to vote no on Article 4 is I do think that the commissioners made a choice. And that's not the choice that's been discussed. The choice was, how should we take those PFAS litigation funds and apply those to our expenses so that they have an impact on users. That's not constrained by anything previously. That's never been done before. We never had this money before. So it's a free choice on the part of the commissioners. Commissioners could have, if they had wanted to, come up with a mechanism to apply it all to debt service or to apply it all to usage. And what has happened is the choice made by the commissioners is to say, we're going to take all of that money and we're going to let it flow into the budget in a way that impacts usage, but does not impact the debt. Now, mechanically, it's easy to move money back and forth between usage and debt by simply increasing the usage fee and then letting that excess revenue flow into debt. So that's my proposal, which is let the usage fee go up.
Can I interrupt here, just John, for a second? So we've been talking a lot about the fees. Previously, I ruled that the discussion of the fees is not within the motion. For anybody here, I'd like to include your comments to be on the budget, the proposal that's at hand. Obviously, it's giving feedback to the commissioners on what your personal views are on the rates, and you're always welcome to do that in whatever way. But the article is about the budget, and we've said that the rates are being determined solely by the commissioners by the bylaw. So just if we could keep to the budget. And you can finish up.
Can I try and take one? If everybody turns to page 4 in the annual report and looks at the budget, what you'll see when you look related to the Veolis lease is a double dash line where that's been zeroed out because of the application of PFAS funds, which we intend to appropriate later on in the warrant. And so the reason that usage comes, why that 0% came out, is because PFAS money flowed in there, and that's how it showed up in the expense budget to get to that zero rate. So that's, my objection is related to that books money flowing into the budget. It does obviously ultimately impact the way the commissioners set rates, but this really is about the use of PFAS funds in the budgeting process. And unfortunately, we're not going to have a direct discussion of rates here, although people obviously can send the commissioners their thoughts by email. But my feeling is we should vote down this budget to send the message to the commissioners that this is not the way we should be charging for water.
Yes.
It seems like you have decided that this amendment is not within the purview.
The scope of the article,
It's not
yes, right,
appropriate.
yes.
And the commission has decided the budget, and that's what we should be voting for. So I move the question.
Okay. This, as you know, this is not a non-debatable motion. It's been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move the previous question, which calls the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. We'll do this one more time. We're going to do this by raising hands. So that, once again, the debate would be over. All those in favor of...
Just to vote to move the previous
Move the
question.
previous,
Not
in my
a vote
determination, I couldn't tell by the
Not a
voice vote.
on the budget.
No, this is not about the budget. This is whether to
That was not clear
move,
from the
this is to
vote.
move the previous question means to close off debate, okay? So we've got,
My point was that since the amendment has been, in your opinion, deemed not
in the scope of the article.
appropriate, then I'm not sure, I
would like to vote on the budget.
That's what you said, and you said wanted to
Okay, I
move the
just wanted to
previous
make that
question,
clear.
which is the arcane way we say we're gonna shut off debate. And that's a majority vote, and I did it by voiced vote. In my determination, I couldn't tell by voice vote whether it passed. It has to get 50% plus
Point of
one.
order, you don't have to vote about whether the amendment, it's not about that. It's not about
No,
that.
we're just deciding whether we're gonna.
talk about it,
For
Bill.
another 20 minutes.
Let's
Okay,
go.
great.
She raised a point of order, Terry, so,
Thank you.
okay? So all those in favor of cutting off debate, please raise your hands. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Somebody write down 30? Oh, I'm
And did
sorry.
you get the head
No,
table?
I did not. 31, 32, 33. I presume you already know. Anyway, 33. All those who are against the motion to cut off debate, please raise his or her hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So those people must have been loud over there. So the motion carries to move the previous question, and that means, in our parlance, that debate cannot be held anymore on this. And so we will go to the vote, which is once again on Article 4. And this is a majority vote. And it is as it says up there. I won't read it again. We ready to vote? All those in favor of Article 4, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Okay, just as I believe it won overwhelmingly, but let's just do this again as an abundance of caution. All those who are in favor of passage of this motion, please raise your hands, please. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, I have 21.
How many votes?
All those opposed? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. What was the, so it does not
Did you
pass.
count yourself?
It does
No,
not,
I'm not voting.
but it doesn't, I mean, that's a 4 vote.
And what happens next?
Move to the next article.
Move to the next article. And we, I mean, I think it's worth stating the implication of not having a budget currently. So I don't know if you want
In
to.
any case, right?
Do you want me to?
Let's go ahead and ask the vote.
Yeah, sure.
The motion failed, and as such, the article fails. Obviously, that means that we don't have a budget. Do you want to talk about that, Matthew or Spencer?
Would you like me to?
I think your hourly rate is higher than mine, so I'll let you do it.
Yeah, so the short version is if there's not an approved budget by July 1, then the district can't spend money on July 1. I know sometimes there's some confusion because folks will have heard of a 1/12 budget. So that's something that is available by statute for cities, and I believe school districts as well, where even if they don't have an approved budget, they can continue to basically operate on a monthly basis. That's not available for towns or water districts, generally absent extenuating circumstances having to do with declared states of emergency, things like that. So essentially, there needs to be an approved budget in order to continue operations on July 1.
Okay. We will have to have another meeting in any case, correct, Matt, on the...
I don't know, depends on how Article 7 goes.
All right, so we're going to move on to Article 5.
I can do a motion to reconsider, which puts it back.
You can do
Yes, sir.
that, it's up to
Point
him
of
whether
order?
he wants to allow it.
You want me to do
Point
that?
of order,
Yeah,
Greg Jarbo, 5 Cherokee Road. Will there be the need for a second meeting anyway, because the free cash not being certified.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about now. We'll get to that when that motion's yes. The answer is yes. If the plan that is in place happens, then there'll be another.
Before July 1.
Ms. Chang?
I think we should stop now and wait for the next meeting.
That's not in order. Okay. Article 5. Mr. Rosen moves that the district vote pursuant to general chapter law, chapters 44, section 53 and E and a half, to establish a $100,000 limitation on expenditures from the revolving fund captioned District Revolving Fund for Mitigation. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Rosen, to your motion.
This motion essentially creates a fund, or just renews a fund, that allows for the expenditures for, in this case, mitigation expenditures. What mitigation is, it's a fund that obtains revenue from parcels in the town of Acton that have new or expanded water use. Generally, that means that the parcel has increased the new or developed parcel increases their water use by greater than 200 gallons per month. We charge the mitigation fee, and that's placed into this fund called the mitigation, District Revolving Fund for Mitigation.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Other comments? Ms. Sims?
Yeah, I just have, Deborah Sims, Concord Road. Quick question, is the fund, the fee that gets paid a flat fee or a percentage of the delta before or after?
Good question. It's based on the increase, on the delta, actually, as you put it. It's based on the delta. For example, Powder Mill Place was built with on a parcel that had a single-family home on it, which did not draw any water from the Acton Water District for years. It now will draw thousands of gallons, so they will have a fairly steep mitigation fee which will go into this fund, and the district will be able to draw from those funds because the district will have to do certain things to increase our capacity to deal with whatever the parcel, some other parcel that increases their water. So that is designed to lower the impact to the ratepayers.
Mr. Murray, you may have a quick follow-up.
Okay.
Thank you. And so is it a percentage of this delta or is it a tiered situation? Like
The exact way it's calculated, I would like...
It's a flat $5 per gallon, so if you're proposing 200 gallons, it would be $1,000.
Thank you.
Dan Grower, 15 Heckman Hill. So I don't want to be a stickler for details or anything, but that article up there doesn't say anything about what you're saying. This is, and maybe that's Article 6. Article 5 and 6 on this piece of paper are the same, and this is about establishing a $100,000 limitation on expenditure.
So in town meeting, if I could jump in, it's the motions that are read that are the subject ones, and this is the motion that's in before us right now. It's the one on the screen.
So
this is the motion, the one that's up behind me.
$100,000 limitation on expenditures?
Yes, if we need to spend more, we have to come back to the public and ask you to increase what we're allowed to spend out of that fund. So we're asking you to cap it, that the commissioners, the district, cannot spend more than 100K. That's good for 1 year, then we have to come back again next year.
Any other questions? Or comments?
Main Street. Does this require anything from free cash, or is it standalone? So does this require anything from free cash?
No, it's a standalone fund.
It's standalone, so it doesn't matter what.
No, it's funded by the fee schedules of the increase over 200.
Topping off right now to get going in order to start.
It's not going to affect you, Paul.
All right, let's not get the dialogue, please.
Sorry, sir.
Go ahead. Alyssa?
Alyssa Nickel, to Brewster's earlier point about having more information in the warrant, I would like to know if we know an average that is collected annually and how much is in this revolving fund, and also how the $100,000 cap was selected, and why?
I can answer the first part of that. So expenditures have been averaging about $60,000 per year. The revenue in it, it's a little bit more variable. It all depends on like what type of development's going on. In fiscal '25, we saw a huge amount of money, which we hadn't previously seen for a while. It was $235,060 total. A lot of that was from Powder Mill Place. Currently, as of January 31st, we've only received $7,905 for this current fiscal year. And expenses this year totaled $12,675. The current balance in the fund is $259,065.27.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes, but I'd like to start not having follow-ups if we get one, because I want to make sure everybody has a chance to.
I guess I don't understand if the point of this fund is for mitigation, that work that needs to be done, sorry, I'm looking at you, Christine. I don't know who to look at. Bill. The point is for mitigation from projects. So the money needs to be spent to mitigate a project. If that is very variable, why not have, I appreciate that you're coming back to annual meeting for approval to spend this, but it doesn't make sense that you wouldn't want to have the district have the flexibility of having variable spending with variable needs that are presented.
Mr. Rosen?
The mitigation fund is usually funded prior to the project being completed. Part of the reason usually you do know, is a Title V is supposed to be filed by the developer, which is their prediction of how much liquid is going to be flowing through the project. We can refine that after, but the mitigation fund expenditure may or may not line up with the actual construction. So we set a fee that we think so far would cover it. Should something happen that doesn't, we'd have to come back to the voters during a special meeting or during an annual meeting. So far, the 100K seems to have covered us all the time.
Thanks.
Sure. Just to be clear, the mitigation fund, those funds don't necessarily go to a direct impact from the project that the fees are coming from. So just to be clear, so we could get those fees this year, and we don't spend them for 4 years because we don't have an expense that, qualifies under the program.
Just one more speaker, and then we're going to vote on this.
It's my understanding that in, for instance, 2024, $100,000 was approved in order to be able to cover whatever costs came up that had to do with PFAS, that had to do with contamination, that had to do whatever else. So this isn't any, to me, it's not any different than it was in 2024 when it was approved, and we didn't reach that $100,000 cap in any rate. So, I don't know.
Okay, I think there's a question. I'm sorry, could you just say your name and address? Could you just say your name and address for the record?
And it's just a reauthorization.
401 Great Elm Way.
Okay. Did you get that question?
I'm sorry, I can't see you, but I hear you. I can hear it.
Yeah, Barry.
The $100,000 doesn't mean we're going to spend it.
No, I understand. What I'm saying is that
We're asking,
We don't have a conversation, if you could just let him answer the question.
we're asking to reauthorize the fund, not to put money or take money from it, just to reauthorize it because it's only good for 1 year of existence.
Just briefly, if I could add, the statute that permits these types of revolving funds requires the annual establishment of a cap on the amount. So that's why it keeps coming back every year. It's because the statute requires it.
Okay, is motion's been made and seconded. Article 6, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's unanimous.
Point of order, it's Article 5 that I was, you just called the question on Article 6. Can you clarify?
Now that's a legitimate point of order. Finally, we have one legitimate. Thank you. Yeah, so I turned the page, figuratively and literally. So we'll start all over on Article 5. So Article 5 was a bona fide motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Article 5, thank you. Appreciate that. We're on Article 6, right?
Yes.
All right, Article 6. Mr. Rosen moves that the district vote pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and 1/2, to establish a 100,000 limitation on expenditures from the revolving fund captioned District Revolving Fund for New Service Meter Installations. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Rosen, to your motion.
Yes. This is very similar to the other one, except it's used for a different purpose. Again, Chapter 44 requires us, Chapter 44, Section 53 and a half, requires us to come back to each year to reauthorize it, and it's the same thing. What this fund does is it allows us, when we install a water meter to a new project, we have to take one out of stock, and this fund captures the money that the developer pays for the water meter. It allows us to go out and buy a new water meter. An example is McManus Manor. We had to put a water meter in there, which cost the district $3,000. McManus Manor pays us the $3,000, goes into the fund. We can replenish our stock, take the money out of the revolving fund, and go buy a new water meter. So we have the appropriate water meter back in stock.
Any comments from the meeting members? Seeing and hearing none, I'll take a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Article 6. Okay, so Articles 7 through 14, which you can see up here. So Mr. Stunts moves that the district take no action on Articles 7 through 14. Article 14. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stunts, to your motion.
Yes, as it's come up, obviously we do not have certified free cash, and therefore we cannot appropriate funds from it. We expect to be able to get that soon, but we don't know, because the auditor for the DOR has several towns ahead of us and districts ahead of us. We are late in submitting for free cash because the auditors had delayed, and we could not start the process until very late in the process. So we're working through that as best we can. Meanwhile, we have the budget to figure out.
Mr. Peterson, the Finance Committee have a position on this?
No, because it's just me.
Meeting members? Mr. Conan?
Yes, any particular reason why these articles are funded from free cash as opposed to being part of the regular budget? And maybe to follow up on that, when Matt said earlier we had a lot of free cash, we would have applied it to the budget. I wasn't sure if he was referring to the 8.5 million or to this part of the budget.
Mr. Tuntz?
We made it a habit of bringing a lot of the normal repairs and maintenance and improvements as warrant articles so that we can talk to everybody about what it is we're doing. If in fact you start putting it into M&O, one line item, it all disappears from visual. So the reason they're all there, the next articles are all to show the kinds of things that we hope to do, and we would bring up at our next meeting when we can certify it. But the reason is, again, for clarity and information.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing and hearing none, we will take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to take no action on Articles 7 through Article 14, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. It's unanimous. As such, the motion passes.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider Article number 4.
Great. Okay. Is there a second?
That's not my second.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Second. Okay. Spencer? What is the? What do I want to say in Acton? It's 3/4. I forget exactly.
I don't, the district bylaw doesn't have anything on conversions to consideration that I know of. I know moderators handle these differently. Some allow them as a matter of right, some only if there's new information, some if they think someone's missing from the conversation. It's really a moderator, call about whether to allow it or not. I don't know that the bylaws speak to it at all.
The bylaw?
Yeah, I have the bylaws, but I can't imagine that they speak. But as you might imagine, bylaws are pretty sparse when it comes to these types of topics.
I don't recall a specific.
I think it would just be a majority then.
I mean, in Acton, it's a supermajority required to do a motion within the same meeting.
Yeah, so the Acton wouldn't apply to the district.
Right.
So status quo is a majority. Yeah. But assuming you allow it.
Well, is there any reason I can't allow it? Can I not allow it?
Some moderators don't feel like there's new information or if it's out of order. And we've seen that position taken. Others routinely allow them regardless.
A motion to consider.
Yeah.
Based on new information, I would argue there's no new information.
But the vote was so close.
I mean, then to me at the time that would have been a request to recount.
Yeah, but we didn't.
Yeah, I
so,
know.
Okay. Well,
I mean, if
allow the motion so it's a motion to reconsider, it's a majority. Okay, I know Joanne's here, but I think in the town, Acton town meeting, there are rules that govern reconsideration, which is usually in the same night of a meeting. It's more than a majority, very large. In this particular case, I'm not aware, and Spencer's not aware, and nobody's aware that in our bylaws or rules that there is such a thing that governs the same thing. Based on that, this is a simple majority. No, so not the supermajority that is in Acton, the town of Acton. So it's a motion that has been made and seconded. I think we'll open it up to some debate, but very brief, because the motion is to open up the discussion of the budget, which lost. And just so I'll take this unilaterally, this will not be an ongoing process. So if it were to lose again or somebody says something else, I won't allow it, and then we can deal with those cards as they may lay. So based on that, I'm going to allow the motion. The motion is to reconsider Article 4. And do the selectmen, you would have to caucus and take a position on this, which I...
No, they don't need a position, no.
I'm asking, do they have a position?
Oh. Yeah. They don't need to express a position.
You don't have to have a position.
The only thing is, it's a recount, essentially a recount.
There doesn't need to be the commissioners don't need to express a position on a motion made by one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can.
I mean, if it was made and seconded, I think you have 2/3
Okay,
that
yeah.
support it. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Based on-
Yeah, there's no.
It was made and seconded by one of you guys anyway, so.
Okay.
District Council has decided that we don't need that. So we'll go to the debate on the article. Ms. Maxwell?
Don't the bylaws call for Robert's Rules of Regulation?
Not to my knowledge. We're governed mostly by town meeting, what's it called, town meeting manager, something like that, so, no.
Anybody looked at the bylaws lately?
I have lately, and I have them right in front of me. I haven't quite committed them to memory, though. But I've been looking through them quite a bit, especially this last week. I haven't seen anything about a supermajority or a requirement to follow Robert's rules or town meeting time or anything like that.
Yes.
Jacob Usman, River Street. I'm sorry, I'm new to Acton, kind of new to these types of mechanisms for making budgetary decisions. Can you elaborate why we should reconsider a warrant that's already been voted down this evening?
Yeah, I have a number of reasons. Oh, sorry, Mr. Connery. Yeah. I think we're forgetting some things which we'll discuss when we get to the motion. But the reason I want us to reconsider it is I'm not terribly comfortable as a resident of the town, and I do serve on other town committees, so this is not my only interest. I'm not comfortable we'll have, because of the way things have been going, I'm not comfortable we'll have certified free cash before June. And that would leave us in a bad way if we don't have it in June. We can't call another meeting until we know we have it.
Okay, anybody else comment?
Sorry, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Since this article isn't about free cash, I'm sorry, I'm not following the connection.
He was giving you his rationale for moving for the.
They haven't certified free cash. We're not going to call another more meeting until we have free cash certified. We can't move on.
This would put the budget in place for next year without having to seek free cash being certified.
We can't call, sorry, it's not my.
All right, we're not gonna have a debate about this? David?
I would favor reconsideration, mainly because I would hate to see the water district hit a wall in terms of spending. For an issue that you could argue doesn't apply to this article. I don't know whether water district meetings allow citizens petitions, or whether there's a mechanism for citizens to ask the commissioners to put an article on the next town meeting. To me, that's the appropriate place for the reason that John asked everybody to vote this down. It's playing with fire, in my view, to have the water district hit the end of funding in 2.5 months' time, 3 months' time.
Anybody else? Okay, so you know, we saying the motion is to reconsider Article 4. And, I think yes, John?
I just want the district council to state that there is no requirement that free cash be certified to call another meeting. That in fact, the commissioners could call a meeting every month from now until the season ran out. So if people want to vote to reconsider, please do so. But please do not do so based on some specious argument about the need to have free cash to call the next meeting.
Do you want me to? Yeah, so that's true. I mean, the commissioners pursuant to the bylaws, and there are some, runways and formalities with doing that, could call a special meeting before DOR has certified free cash, and there could be one article on it.
All those in favor of reconsideration of Article 4, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Put those two hands. And if you're in favor of reconsideration, please raise your hand. Six, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. All those who are opposed to reconsideration of Article 4, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So the article fails? Okay. It's 22 to 19, I believe, right? So 19 in favor, 22 opposed, the motion fails. As such, we will now go back to Article 15, I believe. Mr. Stunts moves that the district vote to establish a separate revenue account known as the, quote, PFAS Settlement Fund, unquote, in accordance with said MGL Chapter 44, Section 53, and that all proceeds received by the district resulting from litigation related to per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, PFAS, contamination be deposited into said fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stunts, to your motion.
Yes, this is how we deal with settlement funds. We've done it with Grace. We set up separate funds, and then we expend it from those funds at town meetings. So this is setting up that kind of fund, which then can be invested and spread out over time to help cover the costs of the PFAS treatment that are ongoing.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay. Mr. Sullivan?
Just Scott Sullivan, Patriots Road. Just a question. It's my understanding you already received some of these funds, so how does that work when you're setting up a fund to receive the funds, and you've already received funds and approached, put them to use already? How does that work with this? Are you violating the law article?
No. So currently, those funds are sitting in a general fund account, Christine?
Yes, they're currently at the end of the DT.
Yeah, so they're sitting in a money market account, but from an accounting perspective, they're considered general funds. What the Department of Local Services has issued is an advisory that, you know, in order to move those funds out of the general fund and actually be able to appropriate them for, you know, specified uses, you would create a fund, so they're no longer part of that general fund.
Ms. Nichol?
Alyssa Nichol, I have a question about the difference in the printed motion and the one that I see on the screen. Actually, two differences. I'm happy that the company names were removed because it's my understanding that we could be getting settlement funds from other companies. I'm a little concerned that the last phrase was removed because it says, as voted by a future district meeting, or to take any other action relative thereto. So I'm wondering, was that phrase removed to remove the authority of annual meeting to direct the district in how it expends these funds?
Okay. Does?
Next, you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming you're looking at the warrant article rather than?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so motions typically
This is not the motion.
will differ, yeah, from the warrant article. So warrant articles will frequently include tails to them, which will basically allow a little bit of flexibility to take actions that are kind of within everything that preceded it in terms of the subject matter.
So the removal of it.
But the motion will remove that and will actually just limit it to the specific action that's being taken.
Seeing nobody with hands raised, we'll go to the motion. It's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? Ayes have it, the article passes unanimously. Move on to Article 16. Mr. Stunts moves that the district vote to transfer the sum of $330,000 from the PFAS settlement fund for the FY27 expenses for the North Acton Water Treatment Plant PFAS system lease. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stunts.
Okay, this is, you know, we're now starting the process of spending the money out of the funds that we got. The first of the treatment plants was a leased facility up in North Acton, and we wanted to lease a facility to try out some of the new techniques and do that. This is covering the lease payments next year for that treatment plant.
Mr. Peterson, Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends this article, and again, I just draw everybody's attention to the budget worksheet. If you look at the line entitled NAWTP PFAS filter lease, and we'll go across to the column, this budget FY27, you see that there's a zero there, and the reason there's a zero there is because of this appropriation.
Any comment from the meeting members? David?
We're doing the same thing in town for an opioid settlement, and we have an additional step between these two steps to deposit the funds we've already received into the settlement fund. You have not deposited the funds into the settlement fund. I'm wondering if town meeting needs to add that to the motion here. So you've established in Article 15, you've established the fund, it's now established and empty. And now you're appropriating money out of that fund? Great, but it's empty. You're going to overdraw the fund by $330,000.
In Article 15, we say all proceeds received by the district resulting from litigation be deposited in said fund.
That was in the motion. It's not in the motion that's...
I'm glad. Yeah, I just,
It's not the one on the screen.
It's in Article 15.
well, Article 15 did have the deposit
Can
into
you
the
put up
fund.
Article 6? Who's controlling this?
Yeah, so his question was, how did the money get into the fund? And Article 15 put it in, the motion put
We're
it
on
in.
Article 16.
But he asked the
But he
question,
asked the question on number 15.
his question was, how do we spend the money if it's not there?
I understand, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments from the members? Hearing, seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. The motion passes and the article passes. Article 17. Mr. Stunts moves that the district vote to transfer the sum of $150,000 from the PFAS settlement fund for PFAS media replacement. Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Stunts, to your motion.
Okay, this is moving funds from that fund into the operating to cover the costs of the, mostly the hookup. When we brought on the new treatment plants in South Acton, we needed extra water to clean those filters before we started.
Wrong article.
This is the media replacement.
This is media replacement, sorry.
Wrong one.
I turned it to
That's,
We go back.
here you go.
Okay, it's pretty clear. For those of you who are wondering what media replacement is, it's truckfuls of GAC come in, and they pump the old stuff out, pump the new stuff in, and then they take the old stuff away, clean it.
Okay. Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Okay, are there any comments from the meeting members? If seeing and hearing none, we will vote. Majority vote is required. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it. It's a unanimous vote, and the article is passed. Article 18. Mr. Stunts moves that the district vote to transfer the sum of $150,000 from the PFAS settlement fund to reimburse the FY26 general fund for emergency water interconnections with Littleton and Concord. Is there a second?
Second?
The motion is made and seconded. Mr. Stunts, to your motion.
As I was saying before, we needed to, as we brought the new treatment plants online, we needed extra water, which we got from Littleton and from Concord. And these are startup fees for the PFAS treatment, and therefore appropriately paid for out of the PFAS settlement fund.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee recommends this article.
Ms. Clifford, name and address, please.
Patricia Clifford, Old Barn Way, in Acton. The numbers in here are awfully specific, or inspecific. 150,000. Are you going to go over that? You're going to go under it at the ceiling? How did you come up with these numbers? How do we know what to match it up to?
Sure. So the $150,000, we have receipts. So Littleton.
For that exact amount?
Nope, but we believe that we will be within, 100 or, so a small amount. So we have taken receipts that we have incurred starting in November of this year. We tabulated those. We have a couple more receipts that have come in, and we think we'll be, pretty close to that dollar amount, within hundreds, maybe $1,000, $2,000.
Any other comments, questions? Hearing and seeing none, we will vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The ayes have it, and the article passes. Now, hold on just a second. So what do you want to call the meeting? So we're not continuing the meeting.
Correct. Okay.
I'd like to entertain a motion that we dissolve the meeting.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? The meeting is dissolved.